the expertise that Kathy Anderson has brought. She's worked with other communities near us, and housing has been able to leverage her network as well as her experience. And we've really done some good work that we'll be excited to share with you tonight. City Hall looks amazing. A lot of legwork. Thank you to Stan and Carol for painting. Thank you to Public Works for all the work. Thank you to the administration for planning it and enduring it and all that. It's just really nice to walk in and feel like it's a fresh space. Sometimes I'm actually a little embarrassed to bring people to City Hall because we've had piles of stuff that nobody's really wanted to get rid of for years and years. And then that in and of itself is a big task because we have public record rules we have to deal with. So just all the legwork and effort that it's taken to get everything looking so nice. It's really a lot of impact. And then I just want to mention this in case it comes to council after it goes to court, which is fine because procedurally that's how we set it up. There is some money remaining in the Blandon Community Boost Grant, and we had a change maker who was interested in improvements to public facilities to increase accessibility. This is a mom of a teenager with physical disabilities. She had did a lot of good work on that. I think she was kind of close to making some headway and then maybe lost steam because she didn't know who her stakeholders were. Well, obviously the city is a stakeholder. So I want to reach out to her and say, hey, we didn't expend all those funds. We really wanted to see change maker projects get some support, and Tyler's project was the only effort that made it through that level in terms of the dog park getting some funding. So I'm going to reach out to her, see if there's something we can do with some of those remaining funds, probably for pool park, just because that's where so much of the action is and where we co-located all these facilities. So that'll go to Port Authority first, sort of the public record, and if it comes to this body, it might be a little bit after the fact, but we have to expend those funds in February, but they're not restricted by council. So. And with that, I think we can hear from our commissions. I can't remember if utilities.
Just normal business. We had nothing interesting.
Okay. And Port Authority, anything else you want to say about other port business? It's been so busy.
We've been busy, and I think first of all, we've got a presentation this evening with respect to the request for proposals for the Second Street property, and that's our the Glander building and the transfer building. We probably should identify them as Second Street properties. So that's tonight, and that's the culmination of all the work that was done with the housing watch and everything. It's fantastic. We had an opportunity to tour all those different developer sites. So it was very interesting. On the 18th of January, I had the opportunity to do a presentation to the Rotary with respect to what the port is and what we're doing. And I want to thank Caroline and Tyler and Ceta as well for making that easy for me to do. So they put together a PowerPoint and gave me some good data. And it's impressive the amount of stuff that we've done. So that happened. We needed a new vice president because our Con Walters had to step down, and so Mr. Sulla was quickly nominated. He couldn't get to the space to say no. And we talked about, I think the other thing that kind of is on that, the Army Corps relationship. There was some discussion about what happens to that big pit out there by the wellhead and the cafe out there. And, we've heard through the years that was going to be ultimately probably given to the city and all of that. That's a really extensive process to make that happen. The reality is, I think the Corps is going to use that for many years to come to pull from and refill for their hydraulic dredging that they do. But they are going to look at putting some vegetation over the top of it to try to contain some of the dust that comes off of that certainly in the summer. It's not ideal for rolling stuff, but they're going to work on it. Some ideas, maybe some city involvement as well to try and help that. And that was it.
Very good. Tony, parks and streets, was just today.
Well, good evening, everyone. Streets, we met today, talked about the State Highway 60 and the 30 sign that is on the agenda for tonight. Probably should be a fairly quick one. We had a tree issue on Jefferson, so we resolved that. 2024 mill and overlay just gave its commission a brief heads up on kind of future plans. Brian's going to be getting us more information for a project this year. And we had some feedback on residential parking signs on Lawrence Boulevards. We discussed that. And then parks, we had a memorial bench request, another one, which is great. Dog park update, we kind of just shot some ideas around, and Tyler got some more information, and Riley did, still working on that. And then we received some money towards athletic field flagpole 50-footer, it's gonna cost about $10,000. So I think we got 5,000 towards that, and we're gonna work on some different ideas to possibly cover that or put it in project also. Because we have the big event coming in May,
We don't have that.
so like veterans kind of want to do a ceremony too, so it's kind of nice to get that done. So yeah, it's a good
Great.
question.
Tony, is there any discussion on, saving some of the light poles from this coming construction here for the beach park or anything?
Just the Pembroke and Grant.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Because
saved,
the lights look great out here,
yeah,
and I think they would look great on the beach park too.
we saved what we could. Because a lot of the ones are rotten on the bottom, but if like they were hit in the last 5 years and run over, we got a new one for insurance. And we put that up, in between the last 10 years and now, we saved a few of those.
The newer old one.
Yeah, because they were,
But has it been any discussion about
oh, I
putting
did,
some down at the beach park,
no,
like 4 of them?
I haven't heard anything.
I'm hearing that, I put that out to the public, should get a lot of feedback that they would like to see at least 4, they walk past that night. Yeah, I think we should, consider that, so.
I think there's 2 to 4, maybe newer ones usable that should be saved.
Yeah, do we want me to send you an email or something? Get that out in the park again?
Yep.
Do we have power down at the park for that?
Yeah, there's some, I got the shelter and then in the back, there's a power station, but.
It would take
Would
some
take-
work. but Doable.
Thanks, Tony. Planning budget.
We approved a small mining IUP, which is over by the old flea market on the west side. We also reviewed and approved a number of ordinance changes, which I think are coming to public hearing next week. I think there's 9 of them there. And then we also talked about the Eagles Basin PUD, the concept of putting housing at the first lot as you pull in. And I think that will be forthcoming in the next couple of months. Pretty good.
That's a PUD.
Yeah, it will be,
Eagle Basin was?
yeah. It's a modification of the current party.
Okay, modification.
Yep.
All right.
Okay, with that, any other good news, anything anybody wants to announce? All right, and we'll hear from Caroline.
Well, Joe forgot one announcement, which is we're fully staffed in the police department again. All right, Officer Ben Swanson left us and is coming back.
Lauren.
So this is very exciting. We're better. No, I don't know. And then City Administrator Gregerson has received one request to dim the lights at the athletic field and another request to add dark sky caps downtown. At this time, we don't have plans to change the lighting situation, but wanted to share these comments with council. So
And what downtown?
dark sky caps, we went through that and decided to go with the lighting we had, so it's not dark sky compliant, but it's not as shiny, bright as the normal lights. And then the response on the lighting here is that once the warming house is up, those lights will be on a timer, but we wanna keep them on till about 10 PM for the people that wanna walk on the path or
Play with
I
it for
think,
when we have
yeah.
winter.
And the winter truck haul is underway. Tony is taking the lead on monitoring it, and Lisa is helping me with David Bacon coverage or, compliance. And we got a lot of press coverage in partnership with the Army Corps hauling sand. We celebrated Cindy Shealy's 30 years of service with the ambulance and did a press release and got a lot of good coverage there. And our congressional request for the Highway 60 reroute will be decided in March with the big budget negotiations. So I saw one of the staffers yesterday at a meeting, and they think that the list that was published, which we're on it for $5 million for our Highway 60 reroute, if the congressional budget gets negotiated, it's a good sign that we'll make it into the final federal budget for the highway. Tyler's been busy with the audit, it's looking good. And had a very good meeting with ad hoc personnel. And I have developed some performance goals that I'll be sharing with the committee in July. That's it.
Sounds good. Thank you. All right, we've got a long consent agenda. We can take things off, but I'm glad we didn't because we have a long agenda. So we have on the consent agenda our minutes from 12/19. That was a special city council meeting. Our regular January 2 city council minutes. Gambling permit applications from Falcon Youth Baseball and St. Elizabeth's. Approval of annual licenses. Approval of Minnesota Small Cities membership, which Kath was here to talk to us about. The fee schedule update with the USB flash drive. Staff did some work on that. The agreement with CMS, WSE Engineering for building official services, the 2024 brush dump contract with no price increase, approval of hiring a full-time paramedic with Alyssa Simonson, code red notification system contract with Wabasha County, city blinds, ADA door handles, and ceiling tiles and floor waxing updates for City Hall, pool lifeguard chair replacements, which were in the CIP, ambulance response vehicle repairs and outfitting, approval of hiring a part-time paramedic, which is Brittany Gillette, 2024-25 hire contracts, and just an FYI about the invoicing of the painting of City Hall. Transfer incentives for ambulance for 2024, subject to annual renewal, the February warrants, and the financial sponsorship agreement with ComPeer. Do we have a motion to approve that?
So,
Second.
We have a motion from Tim, a second from Brian. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We have so many members of the public. I just like when people know what the consent agenda includes. So we have a public hearing for Street Alley vacation with the athletic field. Is that going to be Tony to us? Want to tee that up?
Are we gonna do the date first?
Oh, I forgot.
Sorry.
See. Right now we move forward because you know how I operate.
I'm hoping one of you can.
Let's talk about our date for March 6th. Do you want to tell us any, or what date was it? It was going to be March what?
March 5th it was.
Was our date, which is the election, so we'd have to look. Do we have a rule? Do we have to go after that? It can be,
Yeah,
this is because that's the first Tuesday. Yeah, okay. So after would be the 12th,
Or.
which is planned.
Yeah, the reason I wanted to move this up is I'm the one that's gonna be gone.
I think
First
Karen
meeting in
maybe-
8 years, I'm gonna miss it. And I'll be gone till the 12th.
Okay,
I'm not expecting everybody to hold up the meeting for me, but I just wanted to throw that out there, you
well, we
know.
also conflict with planning that night, so.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have much on planning in March, really. I mean, most of it's covered next month.
And the 12th is out for me too, so the 13th would be the soonest.
Do the 13th.
I'd zoom in. I won't be able to.
Does the 13th work for everybody?
Wednesday.
Wednesday, the 13th, okay, work for staff? I don't know if you're still on. Okay, so our.
Snow.
Yeah, right. Our next regularly scheduled meeting will be rescheduled due to the election, and instead of Tuesday the 5th, it'll be Wednesday the 13th, same
Alright.
time, same
Thank you
place.
very much.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. All right, so our public hearing, Street Alley vacation with regards to the athletic field. We have packet information on this. Is there anything you want us to know about before we open the public hearing?
This is kind of an odd one because there's several right of ways that the city has from years ago that go through the athletic field. And I'm just winging this because but Brian's gonna be here.
Oh, sure.
So there's a lot of information in there. It kind of took a while to get put together, but that's the gist of it. Everything's getting cleaned up, just to make it a city parcel. And I did clarify for somebody in the audience that that one section behind the houses that are on Washington Avenue,
10th Street.
10th Street, they're gonna get half of that 16-foot right away. Brian did confirm that through text, so
Okay,
it's just basically cleaning up a mess
Yep.
out there and,
Yeah.
and turning it over to city properties.
sounds good. Thank you for doing that on the fly. So if anybody would like to make comment, we have a public hearing now. We'll open.
Wendy, do you have comments?
It's just also to solidify for funding to finish the project, we have to vacate.
Yeah. Right,
And record it at the county level.
Right.
And that also is gonna be on your item, general business, number 2, a resolution approving to restrict the deeds for the water.
Yeah.
That comes in after
But this is our first public hearing, right, on this?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, but you only public hearing, the mo, this isn't a
This is
meeting. So this will be a hearing and then we decide.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, so we'd open the hearing at 6:38. Welcome any public comment. The technical array of items. I did notice that the one item is noted mailing list, is titled mailing list, but actually it's another diagram. I don't know if we're supposed to see a mailing list related to. At least when I looked at it last. Any other public comment? Anybody else?
No,
We'll have one last call for public comment. All right, 2 minutes when you're waiting for public comment. This feels like a really long time, so I'll close the public hearing at 6:39.
I'll make a motion to agree.
Thank you.
Second.
We have a motion to approve by Dean, second by Brian. Any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, so now on general business, we have with us, Bob Keller from Keller Barkman can, present to us the materials and then some additional materials they've developed. I would just give the context for the public that's here and for anybody from council who hasn't kind of been following this step by step. We had an RFP. That RFP was well received by the development community. We reached out using our seated contacts. I actually don't know how Keller Barkman came to the table. Did you call them? Texted?
call.
Yeah, and we were so pleased to give, I think, 7 developer tours, and then 4 developers made proposals, and then Bob will tell you all about the proposal that we selected, which we were really excited about. Welcome, Bob.
Good evening, council. Robert Keller, 919 East Avenue, Redwood, Minnesota. I was thinking we might just read my cover letter, because if
Sure.
anybody can know all about my company and whatever, and it was my introduction to the council. My name is Robert Keller. I'm writing on behalf of Keller Barkman Properties. I'd like to take this opportunity to introduce you to our company and our services that we offer. We have been in the construction industry and management of our own rental properties for 16 years. We continue to strive to deliver our uncompromising quality that has helped cement our reputation in the industry. We are currently self-managing 600 units in the surrounding area and north of the Twin Cities. We are also in the process of opening 3 new buildings this next month. There is a 50 and up independent living facility in Redmond, which contains 78 units. Cannon Falls is a multi-family building that has 83 units, and St. Michael's is a multi-family building with 57 units. We enjoy working with our local governments and learning each other's needs while utilizing local tips and grants which bring value to the project. After meeting with your mayor and considered the city how it was clear that the well for your downtown area. We are a local company based in Redmond, Minnesota. We utilize labor and local labor and when possible, and maintain a diverse staff of cleaners, maintenance workers, and management. We strive to give our apartments a modern feel by providing a building that promotes family unity and community involvement. I believe our skills, experience, and enthusiasm make us an ideal partner with and look forward to working with the city government. I am confident that we can be a valuable asset to your team and look forward to discussing this amazing opportunity in the future. And I think one of the main things is that we do really appreciate our local governments. It was so nice tonight to hear everybody say that they appreciate you. A lot of times, you know, working in public, it doesn't seem like you're appreciated. But you guys all know just in the last few weeks, I spent the last 4 days putting this together because it was kind of a rush thing, you know. And you know, then all of a sudden I look at the buildings that we built and you think, you know, I started some of those like 2 years, and then all of a sudden 2 years you come into a town and it's like buildings there, they're full of people are living there, but nobody really knows what went into the whole project. But Carolyn has a list of stuff that's in the packet. I did put one extra sheet because people were confused about the square footages, and I just thought I'd explain them. So when it says that like we have a one bedroom that has, 534 square feet to 972 or 792. What that's saying is that there's different price ranges within the different 1, 2, and 3s, and what they are is, then that's the way the square footage works. So sometimes you might see one that's just not all straight, even though on all the floors, everything is equal, so if it's on second, third, or fourth, the blueprints will be all the same. So what I did is, it was kind of short notice, but we took the lot there on Second Street. I don't know if that will come up
Yeah,
there.
I'm just trying to cast properly,
Okay.
but, exactly.
What this
So-
is showing is the parking, when Carolyn gets it up, you guys all have one copy in your folder. And what we did is we just kind of superimposed it onto the existing buildings and put in the parking and showed where we could use, some existing parking on the street. Gaining, 10 to 12 units in the back area back there and then 28 in the main building.
I'm just taking on because they're big files, but
That's okay.
yeah. Also,
Like we talked about just a little bit what Carolyn's getting that up is really working with the people and being available. I think in this day and age of being cell phones and, just everybody's so busy. In a small town like this, it's really fun to do a project because everybody gets involved. We just, we did Zambroda the last 2 years, we're doing Cannon Falls. And, at first, there's always people have different ideas, but then once they see that, this is where your school teachers and your new workers and everybody else live and how it really does change the downtown area. I have a lot of stores that, are being built by a lot of the buildings that we built in the last 3-4 years. And it's kind of funny because I always say that, Caribou Coffee and, some of these other buildings, they follow us now because they built because all of a sudden, I have a 7-acre parcel in the cities. And we built the clubhouse and we built 4 new buildings. And the next thing I know, they're putting up Chipotle, they're putting up Caribou, they're doing all this stuff. And it's really, really cute.
Well, I know that Dave Woodley did some recognizance. He's part of the group that was tasked with soliciting the proposals, and he went to Zambroda. And he pretended to be a guy who was looking for an apartment, and he went to the cafe and talked to everybody in the cafe, and many of the cafe customers were residents, of course, because it's right across. And they were very enthusiastic about the impact, and we definitely want that. This is a very important infill in our beautiful Main Street, so we're happy to hear that. That was gold stars, not part of the application, but
Yeah.
good to hear that, yeah.
Zambroda is, I think, 72% women-owned businesses downtown.
Yeah.
And it's really fun because during construction, every time you go in, you have lunch and then they would say, we make our own pies homemade. So it's, everybody eats down there and it's part of,
Yeah,
it's part of the community, So Carol, you put up the first floor plan. If you want, I didn't know if you wanted this.
yes, I can go there, site plan.
Yeah, so what that does is that one goes over the parking, if anybody has any questions. We just kind of set the building right on there, try to zero the lot lines.
Does the first floor parking have controlled access?
So you have your own garage opener, the building is secure. And in fact, that's probably one of the biggest things like in smaller towns, especially when you get people moving out, like maybe from the city or it's their first year teaching or they're a new nurse or something. They'll say there's no secured housing or whatever. So like this, they have the garage door opener, they hit the garage door, they go inside, then all those doors are locked. So you just can't enter the building. You have to be either let in or nowadays we have key fobs. And you just put your key fob in front of the door and then the door opens.
How many parking stalls are there?
So we've got this figured out and like I said, I'm dealing with my civil engineer right now. So I have 28 in the main parking. So there's nothing going down in the ground. We're staying on grade level. There's 28 and then I have 10 to 12 in this back area, which is kind of where those dumpsters and back of the building is the alley. You say Allegheny, or how do you say that?
We say Allegheny.
That one there's actually 55, when I checked with the civil engineer, he checked the measurements and stuff. And then I believe there's like 13 on that front side, there's only 3 marked right now. But he went and looked at some stuff and tried to lay this out, so what he was trying to do was utilize extra parking, where if people would say, well, we're taking away this parking here. So we haven't had a chance to, but this is kind of what our first proposal was, and, the ratios too, right now we're at 50, and I have that on the one printout that actually, tells you how many apartments are in each, on each floor. But we could kind of work with that a little bit, if we had a, take a few stalls, we could, always go down to 47 or 50, but this is kind of our first basis here where we have, so we have 15 studios, 15 2-bedrooms, 17 2-bedrooms and three bedrooms. And if we were to take a few parking stalls, think that we didn't quite have enough, we could all take away a couple of efficiencies and make those 3 bedrooms. That way you won't need an extra parking stall. So,
Right.
it's
Because your formula is, do you have a working formula that you like to develop with?
the cities are changing this.
Yeah.
It used to always be 1 out and 1 in. And in the downtown areas, it's really hard to do that.
Yeah.
Because you don't have the square footage of the
We don't have a
building.
parking lot across the street. Yeah.
Exactly. So what we do is we try to do the best we can. And what we find is, like in Zabrota, a lot of the older people ended up giving up their cars within the first year. They just decided to just sat there and kept up because they walked most places, or they had some stuff delivered, And so it kind of depends on, with being a multi-family, we usually get a fair amount of, each age group.
Mhm.
So.
Which is appealing.
So I see it's 4 floors.
Mhm.
So it must be at the row, at the peak of the row. What's the?
So we didn't have that. So what I did is I took a project and I actually cut the roof off to make it, so we would actually do a parapet. So I mean, that's a 1-day drawing, so forget it.
We put them in the hot seat to come up with something to show council, because we didn't require that to come up with the proposals.
And the colors were big off. That was supposed to be terracotta like the building. Yeah.
If you're looking at scale here, Dean.
Yes, I am.
So this would be your entrance in the front. This is all cultured stone. And then we use various, different types of cardboard siding, or in some areas we're using the steel corrugated. But what we did is I cut the roof off, so if we didn't have the big, because normally we do a lot of high peak.
Yeah.
So, and I thought this would actually keep the building down.
And it fits the commercial district better than our more.
But yet it still looks a little modern, you know what I mean? It's like kind of jumping ahead, but still keeping the squareness.
So it's 3 residential floors plus.
Yeah.
Park.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
And then,
any concern about the flat roof?
so the new flat roofs, they come with a 25-year warranty, they're rubber. And we actually have a lot of companies that we actually do work for that have them. I don't have one myself, but so far they've been really good as far as the lasting, and when they have gone bad, the insurance has covered it. So I haven't really had any problems with anybody I know.
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm kind of anxious because with the storms we've had in the last year, we have a lot of peaks. I've actually lost a lot of shingles last year, and we use a high velocity wind shingle. And then they're doing a lot of ice and water. So because of just the way the snow, and then this year we didn't get much snow, so.
Do I see balconies?
Yes, so these are those are actually made out of aluminum, but they're powder coated. And we've been using those for about 7 years. And in 7 years, all we ever do is take a hose and wash them off, because they're actually corrugated with a rubber mat so that the water doesn't run down on the person below.
Right.
So you actually have, some privacy that way. And then all the windows are double hung, which we like because then you can fold them in and wash them. There's so many buildings that the windows never get washed anymore because
Can't touch them.
you can't,
Yeah.
you
Gotta
can't.
have cable.
Well, you
Yeah.
gotta have lift. So like this is out towards the road, you can see where the the garage door would go in right there, but then in the back, you know, we have an area set out, there'd be a place for grills and, a little covered gazebo, and try to make it as cute back there as you can for have some space. This is zeroing it, we're just kind of seeing, in Zambrota, we left 4 feet there, so I actually have trees, but it just depends on the size and kind of how we want to do the building, but I did talk to Dave that one day, and we were just talking about, being able to fit the building on there and utilize our space, so we're willing to, if you guys see something, we can always kind of tweak stuff.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah, we didn't
The garage would be off Allegheny or off Section.
This would be, Allegheny runs by the library.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Good.
And then I think they just sent me some images of kind of what the interiors look like.
Yep, and you can go, so these are actually the reason, there we go. So this is actually the finishes in the newer apartment, so, this is actually a project up in St. Michael's.
Okay, yeah, sorry, it's kind of taking a while to like
Oh, that's okay, Karen.
double click on it, but I'll just do that slowly and, yeah.
So a lot of the apartments are what we call, plank flooring, and it actually moves. And it looks very similar to wood, but the nice thing about it is if something happens to it, we heat it up with a heat gun, you peel the vinyl off and you lay it down just like a carpet, square with heat. So that really helps. All of our 2-bedrooms come with a tub and a tub shower. So if you're handicapped or whatever, you look at all the doors and everything in there are big enough for a wheelchair or a power chair to go through.
Yeah, I don't know anything else.
Common space, there's common.
So we have,
amenity space.
when you come in the front door, you rent some umbrellas, so very, very similar. There is a picture of that here in one of the interiors, I think.
Okay,
So you come in and, we have our mail.
oh,
And then,
Okay.
There's a little fireplace, and then you also have, the main office, the exercise room, the bathroom, and then a community room, and then that door would go to the patio.
Yeah.
So, and also the other door would go to the garage, like usually.
okay, I'm not finding it, but that's okay,
Okay.
yeah.
Can you bring up any of those pictures of the
The which one?
Andy had all these layouts, so we started with the, this is the efficiency, and then went to the line item.
Oh, okay, let me check my email.
He wanted you to kind of realize, because he said someone had a question like, oh, what's the difference between an efficiency or a studio and a 1-bedroom? And we've actually made a little place for the bedroom in that studio apartment, so you just don't have your bed out in the middle. What it is, it's a really nice sized unit for people that are here for a new job. Maybe they just are out of school or whatever because the price is low, but yet it has washer, dryer, everything that they need, so.
I'm not seeing it, but is it in the folders?
Yep, number 1 of the
Okay,
these right here.
We gave it- we gave ours away, but.
Yep. And then the 1-bedroom, but yeah.
Yeah, and I think what we noticed is, it's hard if you live in a 2-bedroom apartment to imagine living in efficiency, but if you live in an efficiency that serves your personal needs, and then you have these beautiful community spaces where you could have a group of friends over, you don't need an extra living room or den.
Right. And I know I've mentioned to you, before, but it's the community living, all of a sudden, if it's the kids or it's the older people or it's puzzles, playing cards or whatever. People do build relationships within the building, and then they also are close to downtown, so it's kind of a win-win situation.
Any questions for those of us who participated? When you're driving in Zumbrota, you can see how Keller Bartman chose to handle the exterior materiality. There's a covered red wooden bridge in Zumbrota. It's like the first thing you see when you drive in, and they're building references. I'm sure the community kind of gave you suggestions about what they
That was the only thing, you know, they said, could we do something that kind of mimics the bridge?
Like, dang, this is a four-story residential building, how are we gonna do that? Yeah.
But we did, so we just took it, we actually took the roof
Yeah.
angle. And then I actually had the siding made to match, so that's a special red.
Yeah,
And they think it's.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
The one, I think this one, Carolyn, you did have that one really shows the layout, and that would go all the way up in the building, so. You know, if anybody wanted to know, like, where there was bedrooms on the corners, where there was 3 bedrooms. This one really shows that, so that each
Yeah.
floor would be the same.
They all have it in the folders, I just
Yep.
couldn't get it.
But I guess the one thing I want to emphasize is that we are very approachable. We've got nine buildings open right now. I have, what, 70 buildings that we built in the last 2 years. And we manage all those, and we still work with the HRAs, with the TIF, with the inspections, you know, they have their yearly inspections, they come in, you know, when you're doing a TIF like that, they'll come through at the beginning and then in the middle of the build, and now the one that's opening in Red Wing, we'll be doing our interior walkthrough on Monday, and they're just like, it's so excited, because that's the last part of it.
Real deal.
It's actually been 4 years, because we have four major sections to that TIF. And so it's been a 4-year project, so we're pretty excited to complete that.
And there's really no way to do a project without this.
So, you know, my biggest thing was, when I started this, I went to several banks. And I said, I'd like to do this project, now this was for Redmond. And they all said, well, when's the last time somebody built a building in Redmond? And I said, 20 years ago. They said, well, you know, we really consider that an unproven area. And so what they did is, I ended up putting a ton of my own money in. We ended up building the building without Jim, because nobody would do it. Then as soon as we started getting the numbers, because the one thing, once you start advertising and you have a building, so the first building I built in Redmond was 61 units. Well, it filled up overnight, and all of a sudden we started getting all these people calling, and then I could actually go to the bank or to go to the city. X amount of people here that want to move, they want to sell their house, they want to move here from out of town. And before, even though you have your, you know, the county, you know, does their, you know, their little things, oh, we need this and we need this, but the bank doesn't really care. They want concrete numbers, and as soon as we get these concrete numbers, that's when the bank says, oh, you know what, I think we want to do a job with you, but I had already built one building, you know, which they didn't want to help with. And now it's like the banks are really moving, so they're like, you know, we've got a good product, we've got all the information that comes in, and the internet is what's so crazy, because we have this program online, and what it does is it tracks everybody. We know where they call from, you know, where if they put information in, we know what they're looking for or whatever. And that's been a real.
And when you do look at it like a 20-year term, or
We usually, so this is the one thing that we have to, with the tips, we usually go 26 years.
23?
And the main reason is the the taxes are going up. And when you can actually deplete your tip early, we want to be able to keep these rents for as long as we possibly can. You know, rather than say, well, the tip is finished. Now, all of a sudden, what do we do? Do we, you know, we have to reapply, we build something else, but because those rents would go up once you stop receiving the tax credit, you know. So that's what's hard, because in the last 2 years, the taxes like in Redmond have really gone up, and our tip is shrinking quickly, you know, and nobody ever really thought that.
Right. The implications.
The implications of the economy would
Right.
actually affect us.
Right, to answer your question partially, Dean, nobody brought us a proposal without a TIF, basically in those terms.
Well, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, and all of them have 26 years.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I had called with the bank the other day, just, you know, let them know what we were doing on this project. And he said, oh, do you need a but-for letter right away? So the but-for is what they write, and it says, if not for the TIF, this project would not move forward.
right,
And that's the way they.
it's their understanding.
So, yeah, what was consistent between all 4 proposals is kind of an incentive with the land and then incentives through tip. And some of the feedback is because interest rates are at 7% right now, so that what was maybe feasible before then is becoming harder and a cost of construction too.
Sure.
So what I put in my notes is that this is authorizing us to move forward. There were 4 proposals. And then we come up with some basic terms that are agreeable, and then it comes back to this group to approve those terms. But it was helpful to get 4 proposals and see that there wasn't, everyone consistently asked for those same incentives, so.
I don't think we were surprised by any of that, certainly based on some of the work we've done in advance for the houses.
So just out of curiosity, let's say everything both, you know, the property sale, we did, when would you expect, construction to be?
We will be, I mean, we're really fast, it'll be 12 to 13 months probably to do the whole bill. But if Carolyn's been very fast on everything, we're actually really amazed with.
She's hard to keep up with, isn't
She
she?
is hard
I know.
to keep up. So, I mean, I couldn't ask, I think out of any project I've ever done, this honestly has moved faster than anyone so far, and we just got started.
Yeah,
We're trying to pursue the project, all the proposals needed, this Minnesota workforce housing grant. There's 2 shots at it. There's 19 million available now and 19, and that also makes the project work. So if we get it on the first round, it's summer 2025 is the latest we could go, because we still have to move out we're looking at the food share and the transfer building. But if we go for the second round, I think it'd be into 2026, so we're kind of, if anything, we'll be slowing them down to say, can we get a bit more time to have the food share figure out a solution?
or can we get more time to apply for that funding, because it's so important that it's
Yeah.
available at this moment. So, and again, thanks to Caroline and Kathy, I was kind of thinking, all right, what do we have to do in 2023 to keep this process moving? And it wasn't really on my radar that we had to keep everything moving in order to get developers at the table to be timely for the application, just April. So we were really lucky that everybody who toured with us and continued to tour with us through the beginning of the new year kept at the table. Only one who didn't, and they don't do this kind of work really. So it was nice. It was a learning experience for them. We liked meeting them. Maybe they'll do some regular small townhome development. It doesn't hurt to expand our network, but of the 4 developers that have the capacity to stick with us, all 4 came to the table. So we were so appreciative to have that choice to work with and such good product to see as an example. So really great.
And in that packet, you at the end there, those are all our things that we've finished in the last few years. It's amazing. I mean, the first, like, some of them you look at it and you're like, oh, it looks huge, but you know, when you have that many people that either are living with their parents or, you know, or are living, you know, somewhere else out of town driving, and then all of a sudden you get everybody in town, that makes a really big difference. I mean, just to have people close. You know?
Yeah, and feet on the street and, you know, employees that can get here without a nasty commute from an hour away, and, you know, it's just a lot, so
Yeah.
we're grateful. And we were appreciative of these rents, you know, we didn't see huge range in
We
rents.
really worked on those just because of the area here, and we kind of looked at that, and you know, the thing is, without the tip and the grants, that's where all the extra things come. You know, a guy hates to build a project and all of a sudden, you know, people look at it and say, well, they didn't do this, or
Yeah.
they didn't do that. In this day and age, there's a lot of amenities that just people think are normal.
Right,
You know, it's just the way people live, you know. And I think that's what we're working on the grants and having that tip, you know, we can come in and say, well, you know, this is a really nice one.
right, yeah.
So, and I think honestly, when you look at the pictures to do this downtown, the road had changed so much. I get compliments where people hadn't driven through there in
It's a
years.
great time, yeah.
And they said, is that your road? I said, yeah. I can't believe, like, how did you do that? And I'm just like.
One step at a time.
Yeah, but yeah, if you have any questions, we do all granite, you know, countertops, we have, you know, stainless steel appliances, they're just a lot of the things we try to make it so it's just like a house.
Mhm.
You know, you see 2 of the smaller, kind of the 1-bedroom units,
Very, very.
but they were still big enough that, you know, it's very livable.
Oh, yeah.
Very little.
Yeah.
So we need 2 motions.
One, to approve that Caroline would continue to negotiate on the real estate piece. And also, well, there's this back, right? All we're really approving is moving forward. Yeah.
Yeah, I just wanna talk about process. First of all, if you have any initial feedback and comments, early and often is better than later, further down the line. They'll save money, we'll save money that way. But I'll finalize, we're talking TIF, land, that's all we'll work that out. I'm gonna, work on that, and then we'll come back and have you guys approve the terms. Then it needs to actually go to planning commission for a CUP. We could probably talk a little more about parking there. And then we'll be getting a local government resolution to apply for the Minnesota Workforce Housing Grant as well, so.
It'll be coming every month because we got that April deadline.
So we have an April deadline that we're
An
trying to.
agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion from John, we have a second from Jeff. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. I promised Bob and everybody that we had toured that we have a really excellent council, we have an excellent planning commission, we have an excellent board authority, everybody's head is in the game. I think this is a really fortunate time to be serving in this capacity, nobody is kind of pulling dead weight, everybody's really been great. And so we've been able to present ourselves as a community with our best foot forward, so we.
I was very impressed by everybody. I think you guys all bring something different to the table, which is really nice.
Thank
Well,
you.
I appreciate
We will
it.
keep you.
And don't hesitate to call or stop in. Like I said, if anybody wants to do tours, rendering or whatever, I'm really excited about mechanical stuff.
I know, I love your mechanical.
Yeah. So that's,
I said, I just want to live in the mechanical room, it's the nicest mechanical room I've ever seen. So, thank you for your time.
thank you.
All right. With that, ooh, I gotta put back. Hmm. Okay, so then, we have the, oops. Our approval to redistrict the deeds for the Wabasha athletic field, this is related to that prior item. Any,
I'll make a motion on that.
very good, we have a motion to approve the resolution as provided, any? Second. Heard it, okay, Jean first, motion from Jean, second from Jean, further discussion?
What exactly is this to restrict the deeds for the athletic field? What are we doing here?
It means that we got a financial incentive for the state of Minnesota to build the athletic field. So it means that we're gonna say we can't build an apartment building back there
'Cause it's for
in
public.
10 years. It's restricted to just be a park. And so if in 30 years, we think this sucks or whatever, we'll pull the deed and say, okay, it's restricted. I don't know how long.
You can petition the state to remove the
Yeah.
restriction if they allow it. You know,
We just spent all this money, it's
Yeah.
gonna be an athletic.
If we
field.
came up with a use in 30 years that we needed it for, we can ask them to get out of it if it makes sense. Right.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thanks for asking, Bill Jim. Okay, and now the Highway 60 Washington County Road 30 intersection sign. We've had this prior, we had a citizen bring this, I think everybody was here for that. A citizen brought this to our attention. We've had plenty of citizens bring this to our attention.
Oh, okay, moving right along here. Yeah. We had some conversation with MnDOT and they told us basically that they will paint the crosswalks and the stop bars once if we get a contract with them, and then we have to maintain them after that. I don't think that's fair. I don't want our guys out on the state highway, especially that intersection. We don't have the capabilities to have flaggers and all that stuff, and, but I did think that the sign that the guy authorized is actually a good starter idea. It probably wouldn't be that close, we'd have to move it back, probably 20, 30 feet, but I'd give people a heads up coming up to the stop sign.
So you would need more.
That would make it pretty complicated, I know. So we talked about that in the street commission, I mean, even with the fire hall, the bank, and Quick Trip on one street, there's no really room to put one there and have people turn out.
And remember when we had those signs before, people just ran them over, they didn't care.
It does happen time to time, we still use them, you know, at St. Mary's and then down on Main Street. But I figured for $315, it might be something worthwhile to try and.
Well, I'm okay with the sign, but I think we need to get a letter out to the state stating that it's their damn property, they have to maintain it. That's like us saying, we don't wanna maintain, crosswalks on Main Street. Why don't you come down and down and do it? You know,
I sent them pretty much
Very
that
nice letter, yeah.
same thing, yeah, and I actually went back and Beacon and I could get photos from 2016 and 2019. And they were freshly painted, and I said, well, why would you do it then, but now you're not doing it? First, the guy couldn't come up with an explanation, he said, that's just the way it is, we only do.
They have some
Roundabout.
determination process at this point,
Yeah.
maybe their determinations,
You know, very important areas.
right?
for us, that's a very important area, so I would like to see a letter sent out to them. And then, in that letter, I would like to see, if we do have to do it, we do our fee schedule. Man hours, equipment, cost, all that.
But they said they wouldn't cover it, I mean, it's at our expense, or you want to have that added in the water.
Let them, respond that
The
way.
safety issue would be a bigger concern.
So Tony, is the county been involved in this at all?
Yes, and they're like.
But
It's not our,
separate, wow.
right away, because their midnight right away goes way out into 30 on both sides, so they trumps county right away, so. But they did say that they're gonna do some painting down by, the grocery store.
That was the other issue Dean added, when the citizen came and asked about this issue, that did get addressed, so
Right,
that
that's
was,
the county, yeah.
yeah, and they.
So the county is not doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we actually paint crosswalks downtown. Right. For the county, because I don't really wanna wait. Right, so long and then, I like it looking nice.
I mean, I think we should send a nice little letter, not nice, but.
Tony, who paid the crosswalk by the beginning of,
How that would be done,
what's any different in this one? It's the
um,
same road,
oh, wait, no, we,
so as you turn off for the bridge, take a left, there's a crosswalk there, you paint it, paints it.
we haven't, we painted the one that's actually on the county road, which is going towards the slough, coming off the bridge. But the other one, I don't remember seeing that painted recently.
Is it painted?
But if they have repainted that, that would be a good question, why is that on that same stretch of the road 2 blocks away, determined? It's the
I think
same
they-
traffic.
I think they did like 2016, 2019.
Not since then.
Yeah, and they even did the grindings where they go to the pavement, because it's big rock, and they don't remake it. Okay.
Well, I know that I can attest that Tony did attempt a letter, so I don't know that if. I wonder if,
We did that one.
I don't think Tony should send it
Well,
again.
it can come from this body, and we can essentially take things.
Well, so on Beacon, it shows up as one that's painted,
Yeah, it is.
but, and who paints the one that's at the intersection of? What is it, Pembroke and 60?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't understand why they won't paint the 4-way, but they paint that one.
I think we're wondering, maybe they aren't painting that one anymore either, but your point is well made, if they are painting that on the same stretch of highway, then what is the rationale for not painting it? for us?
See,
And we
Dean,
can ask that question as a public body.
what if instead of sending another letter to MinDOT, we send one to our state house and send it to that?
Yeah.
Because that's who they listen to. is-
Well,
is
how
when
about
they-
all three?
Sure, we'll copy everybody.
Yeah, I don't understand why, even if we put signs of why is it our $316 expense? I don't get this, it's their road.
But I think it's something from the city of Wabasha, not just.
Yeah, not from just from Tony, although we did a great job. The county was very totally part of the whole communication exchange was very professional, but yeah, I don't think they provided a very satisfying response.
So are we gonna buy the sign as well?
I don't see why that one hurt to
Yeah.
purchase that.
Yeah.
Like,
The motion,
Start there and keep working on it.
Yeah.
and maybe all that sign will even give some of the trucks.
run down, yeah.
Right.
Or yeah, maybe they'll get run over, so we can take a picture of it.
Do we have a motion for that, for the purchase of the sign?
I could be done with like,
I'll move for the purchase of the
We have a
sign.
second.
Second.
The motion from John, section Brown, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Thank
And
you.
then we're sending a letter to multiple.
I can help with that. I'm gonna take Tony's position. Put it everywhere. Remind me it's not.
That's-
oh,
All right.
Sending a letter.
Okay. Okay, so 4 and 6 seat bike, city bike discussion, this is the little, Surrey with fringe on top.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. I don't know if you want me to read through this whole.
I think we all know,
Yeah.
we've got old,
Yeah.
they've done their service, we don't really have any place to store them anymore, we don't have. They,
Send it back.
I'll second.
okay, motion from Dean, second from Tim, any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Most of them say, many thanks, of course, to Dave for all that work over the years, and for Public Works for moving them around.
I should have put this on consent, but
That's okay. Now the financial federal procurement policies, they're basically prescribed.
just, please go ahead and approve. I just wanted to say that I had a clarification is we have to do a request for qualification process for our engineers, but we are not allowed to take price into consideration. So Brian made me aware of another federal act that says you really should look for architects and engineers, look at qualifications, don't look at price.
We are not required, or we are not, we are,
So we definitely need to rebid out
Yeah.
engineering services for the construction of the barge
you
terminal
are not
site.
required to go with the lowest
But
bidder.
we are, in fact, as apparently you're supposed to look at qualifications, so.
So.
Anyways, it
procurement's
doesn't
about-
matter.
Yeah,
We have a policy,
Move to adopt.
yes.
thank you. Second, all those in favor, any further discussion about these federal policies? We can't not do them, so. Motion from John, second from me, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Thanks,
Aye.
Brian, for all the work on that.
I'm opposed.
Oh, you're opposed to, okay, a nay from Ryan. All right, and then we have our state seal flag redesign resolution. Or I guess example resolution, so we, Brian brought this to our attention for possible agenda, I guess it could be March, not was negotiated that you'll be in attendance, so for a future agenda, we've got a letter which Brian wrote for us and then example resolutions. Do you want to say anything?
Yeah, I'll just add, my letter kind of speaks for itself, it's pretty clear how I feel, but again, at the end of the letter, I wanna echo that, we need to keep my personal vendetta out of this, but, one other thing I wanted to add, is, I've had this thought for quite a few months now, talked to a lot of people about it, it's not a knee-jerk thing, when the county went ahead with their letter, that kind of got things rolling a little more, and then I was actually approached to come to council with this, so. I've heard a lot about, it's not a city issue, I really want to thank Bill for saying what you did, because you hit it right on the head, this is our way of providing feedback to the state. Most of the people I've talked to, which the vast majority do not want this, and they feel like they have no voice going to the state capitol. They feel like the 7-county metro is making decisions for all the rest of Minnesota, and they want us as their representatives to actually do stuff like this. They, we make resolutions for the state all the time about different things we want. And this is no different than that, I feel, so. That's why I put it forward. I do some work with, the VFW and the Legion, as part of the Sons of the American Legion. And along with all the resolutions that I provided with the agenda item on the outset, I received this from my VFW commander on Saturday. They had a VFW district meeting in Rochester for District 1. So you won't be able to see this, but it's 12 counties in southeastern Minnesota. And of those 12 counties, it's every single VFW in those 12 counties, and they all had their district meeting. And they had a unanimous vote, to move forward with something just like I'm proposing. Very simple. I'll just quickly read it for you. The District of the Minnesota Veterans of Foreign Wars, the first district of the Minnesota Veterans of Foreign Wars hereby urges our legislators and the governor to retain the existing Minnesota state flag as the official flag of the state of Minnesota. That's all they did. I want to hear everyone else's feedback. What I'm proposing is we either copycat the resolutions that have already been put forward, or even go as simple as something that the VFW did. But I have enough feedback from citizens in town, the majority, that want us to do something like this, so that's why it's here.
Anybody else with comment?
I just said, everybody that spoke up tonight, I want to say thanks, but, looking at this from the from both standpoints, on this, if you're in favor of it or not. The Minnesota legislature should have had a referendum for this. See what the people thought of this, rather than trying to cram it down our throats, in my opinion. So sending this back to them with our voice is, I agree with Ron. We need to send this back and at least listen, so they can hear our voice and go from there. So
I agree with Brian 100% too. This is an attempt by the Marxist socialists that are running this state right now, and I'll say it. The bottom line is, the first thing I want to do is remove any history of a unit of an area. The 1930 Treaty of Prairie du Chien established this area as home of the half-breeds. That clearly shows that there was Indians and the Americans were getting along pretty well. This is where all the half-breeds live. And the current flag shows Indians, it shows the farmer, it shows the water resources we have with the rivers and the falls, the lumber and agriculture, which is what Minnesota is. This new flag shows nothing, nothing.
So
And it should have been, the people of Minnesota should have been able to vote on what we need.
So we voted, and the majority of the people that were elected decided that this is something this isn't the first time this has come up. It's come up 3 times. Well, 3 times it's been changed, but the idea of changing the flag has come up numerous times, throughout the course of the years, and several times within the last probably 10 years. Everybody that I've heard from supports the idea of changing the flag. The concept of our flag currently isn't really, on a symbolic state. We're supposed to be able to identify it 50 feet in the air. We can't identify our flag by 50 feet. All those little things like that. And I do think that it is off-putting to some of our neighbors. So I don't see this as something that the city of Wabasha should get themselves into. I'm opposed to any kind of resolution. If we don't like the way the flag looks, we have an opportunity to vote the people at the state legislature out, and they can make those changes. So there you go.
I got educated by this. In 2011, Arkansas changed their flag design. 2003, Georgia changed it. 2010, Louisiana changed theirs. Minnesota changed theirs in 1983. And now 24. Mississippi 2021. Montana 1983. Nevada 1991. North Carolina 1991. Oklahoma changed theirs in 2006. South Dakota in 1992. Utah, a Republican state, changed theirs in 2011 and now 2024. Wisconsin did in 1998. If you read the law that's being about state, that goes into effect on May 5th. The law that sets the new flag and seal in motion only applies to the state of Minnesota. It does not compel cities or counties to do the same. Which means we don't have to change our flag. We can still use the old flag if we want here and want. And I, like I said, I got very educated, a good education about the history of Minnesota and Native Americans, and it's not so nice. We are 33 Native Americans in Mankato. We set the record in the United States for the number of hangings we've done. We are part responsible for the genocide of the Dakota Indians. And that's well documented. I found some documentation, some books on that. So you can't tell me that the half-breeds or whatever this you said, it's ridiculous. I don't really personally care what your opinion is, but we've always strived in this city to keep politics personal politics obviously come. And we've been able to manage that. And now we're jumping into the politics here again. And, I had 6 people call me up in favor of this. Only one is a citizen of Wabasha. How many people that you guys are actually citizens? Well, how many are not? So I have 20 that have called me up in the last 3 days that are opposed to this. They're all citizens of Wabasha. So I don't think we should get into this. I think it's a bad idea. So that's why I said. So, and I'm not a Marxist or a communist. There's no bad.
But that's just part of the deal. The culture has changed in this country so dramatically in the last 3 years, okay? No one can deny that.
Then write your legislature. I write letters all the time. I get them in.
I write letters too.
And the people that are opposed to this or in favor of this should be writing a letter to their legislature, to Steve Kirkowski or whoever.
But when
If
you just talked about
If
all
you're
the
not
other
having
states,
something,
there's all these other states that changed their flags. What was the process? Did the people of the state have?
none of them got a vote. Not one.
Okay,
Not one.
I'll try not to repeat what
Barely
everybody
left
said,
the
but I will say, I went a little HPC on this, which I thought was very interesting. You know, I didn't for one second think that the public got a vote the first time around. We know how these emblems get made. It's a sort of a lazy man's affair. What does the other guys look like? What does the Civil War flag look like? So that's the truth. So the governor and then Sibley basically made the seal. The seal got applied in preparation for the World's Fair in Chicago to our first flag. We didn't have a flag for 35 years. And when it did get made, it wasn't a vote, it wasn't a consortium, it wasn't a commission, it was a commission. But who do you think was on it? You know, white elite women, actually, which is an interesting story. But it was like 5 to 9 women. They were married to milling magnates. It wasn't even particularly geographically representational. So I think we know our state history enough in the last 200 years to know how that operated. We didn't get a vote the first time. So this is from a state's perspective, messy, for sure. Did I love the process? No, it's the first time it's ever been done. I'm gonna give them a little grace. But there was absolutely public input, 20,000 comments, 2,000 in some designs. I hate most of the designs, so maybe if we do this again in some recent, future, we'll think about how that looked. Maybe people should have had some compelling opportunity to demonstrate that they had the capacity to design a flag before they just gave a terrible example. But nevertheless, 20,000 public comments. You know, I read the minority report, which is very well written, but this isn't under legal scrutiny right now. This was a commission, and they're with their authority, they did the process. I wish we'd had this discussion with a citizen when the process was going on, and the media has covered this for well over a year. It's been in every level of press. It's all over social media. I don't know how anybody who cares about this issue could have not heard about it. I love to help people with that process, which can be overwhelming, reaching out to your representatives and figure out which state part, where do I reach out with either support or complaint. That is a little difficult sometimes. And so that I'm always willing to do with citizens anytime for any reason, even if I oppose their idea, because it's a process issue and as local government, I think we are obligated to assist people with that. But when a state process is complete, I don't feel that we have a role at this point in commenting on that. The report's written, the minority report's written, the Republicans can do what they wish in the future legislature, and as John mentioned, we have the responsibility to vote for the people that we think will make the best decisions. But I did not want to not have it on the agenda. I absolutely value this dialogue. I appreciate hearing from citizens. I've never heard from more citizens on any issue than this issue. So with respect to something that hasn't been stated, it's, if not divisive, which I don't really think is the issue. I think it's just simply a very polarized issue. The process is new. People have different interpretations of what they see. Creating a visual system for anything is fraught. I mean, sit in on a logo design in any small level of business, and it just, nobody ever gets what they want. It's always a process of basically finding middle ground. And as far as I can tell, that's what the commission did. They did receive public feedback, so that accusation that didn't occur is just not factual. But also, we didn't get a chance of citizens to vote in the first flag. It was kind of, Philip was turned into a flag for a big exposition that had essentially economic consequence. So, so we can certainly debate this in a future agenda, but I do feel concerned that if we had a resolution pass or fail, it's going to show a split. It's going to show a split decision. And I'm not sure, just based on what I'm hearing, I don't think anybody's gonna be terribly, since we've all gotten a lot of public feedback, I don't think we're gonna feel terribly compelled to change our position. And that's absolutely okay for us to have different positions. I'm not sure it's strong to put forth a resolution that has essentially half of us voting one way and half voting the other. I don't know what kind of a message that sends.
I don't think it's good for the, for a long period, because if we vote, this is voted for. And it's, sent up to the state. We have our Redmond, Dakota, tribe, at the Eagle Center. And, they throw a lot of money into that Eagle Center, and I think they're gonna walk away. And I don't think that's good for the city of Wabasha to lose one of their partners at the Eagle Center. You know, you know, Brian, I respect, your opinion and stuff, but I don't think this is the way to go about it. I mean, I never brought anything to the council that I was opposed to, because I was opposed to it. When I got on the council, I told the people I'm gonna, represent them as a whole. Whether it's 50%, 49%, whatever. You know, I just don't think, personal stuff like this should be on the council.
Sure.
I think, well, I mean, I think in Brian's defense, so he did have constituents come to him and ask him.
Oh, yeah, I understand, but.
And that is hockey.
But we have
So,
Yeah, I would disagree with Dean. I think I've had probably 50-50 constituents say for it, against it. I'm all for moving forward the resolution. I may change my mind after the fact. I don't like us changing history in the United States just to change it because somebody was wrong. I don't think we should remove statues. I think we should learn from those situations. That's the way I feel. I mean, people may be able to feel differently. That's fine. I mean, I just think it's worthwhile to explore it. People want to know, can we give a voice to our constituents? And this is probably the way it is. I agree with the mayor that, yeah, it's gone through an extensive opinion and comment period. I just don't think people really paid attention to it to a point.
So where does this stop then? I mean,
No.
so do I bring up a resolution, in May for, the Chinese?
Yeah.
genocide?
Dean, you can absolutely bring up whatever you want.
Well, I don't think.
Well, that's,
If
if our constituents say, hey, can you bring forward a resolution?
And then we're gonna be having resolutions every month about something.
You know, we have this come up
Then we do.
pretty frequently, and I think, is it material to the city of Wabasha in the conduct of our authority? Is it material? As Dean said, we don't have to even fly that flag, so I'm having trouble with how it's materially relevant. I understand people see us as representatives, but we don't have authority in that space. We weren't commissioned, and none of us were members of that commission, so I think it's important to understand. We have an authority, state enabled, that has a beginning and an end, so I'm always cautious about that. I don't want to promise to people that we have authority that we can't deliver on. That's not good government to pretend that we do. It isn't good government to ignore your constituents either. So that's why I'm perfectly fine, you know, debating it and debating any other potentially, you know, hot topic that is difficult to converse about. We're grown-ups, we can do that. The public is good about bringing us their thoughts. So I just think materially, we add our list, this short list of cities or counties. Our county has already put forth a letter. They perhaps had a more unanimous view. I don't know, wasn't there for that discussion. They talk about sort of the fiscal resources that they're concerned about. But I can tell this body doesn't have even more sentiment, and that I wouldn't want to pretend that we did with a resolution that says we support this when in fact it's not supported by a vote that looks like we all support it. So, and I would feel that way with another mixed, you know, another issue that might be brought to the table, we just can't get consensus. I've always thought that if we can get consensus on this, even the sort of like LGA stuff, it's like, if we don't have consensus on this, I don't know, the resolution is really a very powerful tool. I'm not sure how powerful a tool a resolution is, unless it's, again, furthering our business, furthering something that we're actively engaged in. As a city, of course, we all are engaged as citizens.
I was trying to break this down into the simplest form of not going into what's on or not, and it was brought there, and that's fine. But still, to me, it's the motivation of changing it. That's the sticking point for me. And I know this isn't authoritative, it's feedback. It's feedback from the people that I have talked to, that I've made a commitment to bring this forward. And so I am gonna move forward with a resolution. I am perfectly happy with the resolution stating exactly what, the VFW put forward. Very simple, 2 sentences. Unless there's feedback otherwise. I can read it again very quickly. The first district of Minnesota veteran of foreign wars, so we'd replace that with the city. Hereby urges our legislators and the governor to retain the existing Minnesota state flag as the official flag of the state of Minnesota. Simply put.
We have a motion, do we have a second for discussion?
Well, I thought this is discussion, the motion or resolution go on a future agenda.
Yeah, and if that's what we want to do, we can have it written and vote on it at a future, at next meeting. I'm ready to move forward right now, so I would just go ahead and make the motion, my motion anyway, just to approve it with that language.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion, a second. So with that, the flag is specifically outlined in that language. Just so you know, even the minority report of the process of the commission for the, the ex officio members and then, dissenting commissioners. Takes issue with the seal, not the flag.
We can add.
That and the process.
I have a discussion on this too.
Yeah, it's, we're
The
over.
problem with the motion in second, tonight is, that's not what the people want, so. That's not on the agenda for tonight. It
Right,
says that it will be put on the agenda in April. So I don't think we can do a motion.
All right, I'll revise the motion then.
I think there will be people going on in April, about this too, so.
All right, that's fair.
And then, because the meeting date is moved, did you want to amend that to a motion to put it on in March?
Well, if the agenda says April, do we need to keep it April? Because that's originally what I thought.
No, it doesn't.
no, it's a discussion about that.
Yeah,
So
sure,
it's-
discussion, so there's no action taken tonight, except this is discussion.
Okay,
And you can request a resolution put on whatever future agenda you want.
sure, so we wouldn't even take a vote?
No, there wouldn't be a vote tonight.
Why don't you put it on June?
That's late, that's too late.
Okay.
So, yeah,
That's kind of how the process works.
okay. Well, I'll pull my motion if you're gonna pull your second, that's how we're gonna do it.
Sure.
All right, so then,
Then it's just a matter of agenda setting, which we clarified, Dean. It sounds like past practice was for the mayor or 2 members of council to set an agenda item. I'm always gonna be, FYI, I'm always gonna be open to whatever you want on the agenda. I'm never gonna not allow somebody to have a point of discussion on the agenda, so we couldn't clarify that in the charter or statute. So it's fine that it got brought to this agenda for discussion.
sure,
We don't need to actually do anything actively to put it on the agenda for April.
I mistakenly, said that was in the charter.
That's okay. I always thought that too, Dean. So at some point it may have been adopted.
It is, and it has been, gone to their administrators,
Right,
and kind of dealt with, phone calls saying, hey, what do you think of putting this on?
right.
So,
And I understood that before Caroline's time, and that either was just procedurally how it was handled, was kind of a matter of procedure, or it was written into an ordinance at some point, but we don't have any record of that in that current ordinance.
this way we can fine tune the language as well, instead of doing it off the cuff, so. I'll work with Carolyn on that.
All right, so it'll be on the agenda again, but I appreciate everybody weighing in. I didn't want anybody to sit here in silence, feeling like they couldn't say what they needed to.
Yeah, I appreciate all the feedback, especially getting in touch with you directly, so thank you.
Okay, general business
So
also have.
Just to clarify, going on.
Yeah.
March.
That's
Going
fine.
on March.
That's at April. That's-
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah, I wasn't sure if I'd be here or not, so, and I should be for that, so.
yeah. Local Board of Appeal, we need a member, and many of you are in good standing, I can hear this. So for the 11th of April at 6 p.m. Jeff, Brian, and John are certified till 2025, and Tim till 2026. We need 1 member.
I was on last time, we're doing, someone else had to do it twice in a row.
I did.
You
I
did?
like that.
I've done it.
For years.
I mean, I'll do 2 in a row.
I'm getting recertified. I missed last year because I was in hospital. So if I'm feeling good, I can cover.
All right, Dean, it's gotta be one per
Gotta be
board.
one from each ward, so.
So if you wanna do it, go for it, if you can't, I'll sub it, okay?
Yeah, I'll do it, and then if I can't, I'll make.
Then somebody else, that's fine. So as long as we know we have somebody, so. It's planned as
You're done.
Dean, if not him, John, Brian, if not him, Tim. Got the
Ward three.
So you have one for each ward
Yeah,
Yep.
and.
Who's Ward
one
three?
person has to be certified for, so.
You're good.
We're good. You just have to, Gene, are you doing it? Or?
Dean's getting
Yeah.
certified and he desires to do it.
Brian's already certified, so
No, but who's from Ward three?
whatever.
You're certified, Jeff.
And I can do it, I haven't done it.
All right, Jeff's on board.
But it's gonna know who's gonna be here.
So Dean, Jeff, and Brian, and then if we need backup, yeah.
Thank you.
We got you covered, don't worry.
You want a
So
motion?
agreeable. Do we need one? Go for it.
No,
I'll make a motion, that's,
It says a motion to appoint a member. of each board.
so I'll make a motion to appoint Dean, Jeff, and Brian to the,
What would be-
yeah, local board. of Appeals.
probably second that.
There you go.
That list.
That guy go back to.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Okay, and chambers improvements. Caroline.
I think the specific question for everybody, and Tony, you sent an email was. Yes, can you share with the council? We find this picture.
After painting, you know, we got some blank areas in here, we're thinking like maybe city Wabasha there, do you got that picture that?
Yeah, I'm gonna connect.
We got kind of a rough idea, but Sue, you know how good Sue Monday is, we were thinking city of Wabasha, and we we're like, starting to think about stuff, maybe the river and maybe the Big Joe Flower, you know, different things, and of course, we don't want to spend $1 million, but she said if you want me to spend a couple hours on the city of Wabasha, something, a couple different versions of that or whatever, it's like $100. I don't know. Yeah, wouldn't it, I mean, needs.
So it's this isn't $100 to draw out the designs, and
Yeah.
then she, I don't know, she
The painting would be,
painting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then we look at, see how much it would cost, and then can we afford it, or do we want to buy into some art grants, or, you know, maybe things like that, but I don't know if that would. She said it would be a separate metal sign, it wouldn't be on that wall,
Which is
painted on
smart.
that wall.
Yeah, 'cause then you can move it.
Yeah, and then there's like colored fast, like, things that protect it,
Yep.
so, I wanted to talk to you before we.
So here's my feedback, even though I enjoy all of Sue's work immensely, I wouldn't move away from our existing logo. I just think that's kind of a brand standard. So I wouldn't create a mural. If Sue wants to bid painting our existing logo, either the one that's a little bit more like that with the rest more refined, or this one, she's obviously capable of both. And I would say that when we find out what her costs are, because what we're really asking her to do is represent a graphic, you know, that's been configured, so we would also check out how we get that made, either printed on metal or a decal or something like that, because I know Sue's time is very valuable. She's very, very, very highly qualified. We may or may not need her artistic ability. If we're not recreating an image, we don't need her conceptual skills. We just need them to create the image. So I would just respectfully, because she's a busy person, I don't want to drag her along through some big creative process.
Yeah.
I don't think we should really move away from our logo. It's just confusing.
Okay.
Again, it's like designed by committee. No one will be happy, whereas
Yeah.
somehow we're all good at this. That would just be sort of a process recommendation, but certainly think it's,
So just kind of say, give us a cost on painting.
Yeah.
Or this on a sign.
yes, which may reduce her cost of proposal, of figuring that out, because she's not asked to bring any time to the table.
Yeah.
Conceptualizing it, if that makes any sense.
By the way, we're going to see what will look like.
It's this one, or if you look on the city webpage, there's one that's more like that. It's got the round.
Well, that one's on
It's
there.
like this, and this is a very simple image, you know, that can be rendered either digitally or Sue is a masterful sign painter. That's
Yeah.
her skills not in question. It's more like, what's the best approach to get that done?
She was all excited. She's
Oh,
like,
I know.
We're like, well, don't do anything. yet."
Not to say we would never want another creative, you know, there's these paint the town grants that sometimes that's come up for like something creative that would be more expressive, but I don't know, from our city's logo standpoint, we want to be kind of veer. That's just a brand standard thing for me. I don't know.
Keep it neutral.
Yeah, it just should be consistent.
So. Get a price on, by the same size or
Yeah.
that type of thing.
Beautiful. I mean, that scale is beautiful.
That price on card.
In here? Oh, yeah,
And then you mentioned acoustics. We want to look for, are you thinking with our direction, you could come up with some ideas?
Just
Oh, sorry, I wrote the rest of that.
Okay.
Tony and I came together on this, so. So we're, okay, just to clarify, we're asking Sue to bid painting our current mural right there.
Current logo sign,
Okay.
whichever she interprets as the
Okay.
most feasible.
Okay. And then I just wanted to get, I think we're all pretty tired, but just other concerns. It's not, I guess. Jean expressed concerns with sound. We talked a lot about the lighting, so I noticed in her image, she showed us what it could look like with maybe different lighting there. So leave it as it is,
I haven't
I guess-
thought about the lighting
Nor
before.
have I. As much as I really value acoustic improvements, it's gonna be a very difficult space to improve without a significant intervention. So I think that's a much bigger.
I thought about these, these 4,000.
I think it was more about the sound
Yeah,
first, because it's bad, I mean,
It's
it's
bad.
back there, it's like.
Gina and I couldn't hear each other from across the table.
Yeah.
Before we added these, it was terrible.
Yeah, they help in
Yeah.
cities. They do make things for the ceiling, right?
Yeah, or up here, you know, you can do them above.
Yeah.
If the lighting is an issue, and we did wanna do something about it, when in one of our offices once, we had old fluorescent lighting. And, they took the bulbs out and they took the ballasts out and they just put LED strips in them and wired them super cheap, and then you get your new lights, and you don't have to reinvent the wheel.
Fixtures, yeah, the fixtures in the image are cute, but that wouldn't serve this meeting room capacity as more decorative. You'd have to have this and the globes. Acoustics is hard, but
Maybe we'll come back with some ideas, and if it's a few $100 or, you know.
so are people, how much is everyone bothered by the acoustics and wants staff time spent looking at it? Just leave it as it is,
I
or,
don't want that looked at.
okay,
The problem where I sit is if somebody's talking in the audience,
you can hear them.
I can hear them better than I can hear
Right,
you guys. And, I don't know, I know it was like that when the tackled there.
Carpet would make, I think the biggest difference, but do you want to switch to carpet, then you gotta go roll
Well,
the chairs.
here's the deal, I'm gonna give you a road trip, or a field trip. We use carpet tiles everywhere we can, and they're very readily available. There's a place you can get them extremely cheap. You can basically, it would be a total Riley project. You can basically tape them together like a gigantic area rug or multiple area rugs if you wanted to leave that space open, because that would be heavily trafficked. It makes a huge difference. We had some that we used in our home that we then used in the office that then are now at Hills Hardware. So they're on their third use there, and they want them for slipping and acoustics. So you just get large carpet tiles, you know, they can be neutral, they can be, you know, easily maintained. They are, you can wash them off with a hose. So if someone did come in with muddy boots and soiled one, you can hose it off, you can take that one square and you can buy 15 extra squares. They're really, really cost effective. There's a place to get them for cheap, as long as we're not real fussy about color, if we're okay with like neutral.
Wait,
Yes, classy.
Well, I'm trying to figure out if I want vacuum or wax floors, so that's kind of curious, so.
And I can bring a stack of the carpet tiles down just for you to kind of envision what it would be like to manage those, because they do come apart, you know, if they're really heavily trafficked, that's why I wouldn't do them right there.
Yeah, no, you do it here.
You do it here and there, yeah.
I've got them in my house, and they get a little sticky on the bottom. Move them around.
Acoustics back here also don't for sound.
You could, yeah, similar to this,
Those are cheap.
yeah, they're great, and they're very
I
attractive.
think the ceiling thing was cheap too, but
I've never found a cheap bathroom, we
no,
looked and looked and looked.
okay.
But I do agree, something on the back wall would be nice, maybe either side there.
Back here.
Yeah.
Is.
Yeah, it needs absorption back there.
Needs to be
absorbed back
here
Yeah. So yeah, I think we're all,
Does
I'm
anybody,
so appreciative of everything that's been done.
does anybody else feel we need a different monitor, maybe connect, because I'm gonna have a hard time seeing this monitor constantly. Could it be either turn this way or maybe put another one up there?
No vacuums. That's $200-300
$300, yeah.
now, I mean, we just have to run cable, we can do that crazy.
I mean,
That's
or, and that one just turn more outward, because it's like.
We
Outside
decided
of this
no
table.
to putting anything, no to putting projector screens here, because then it's at your back, so.
Right.
With that would be good, and then the whole other side of the public.
Okay,
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would be good.
okay, right.
And obviously, we have a total mashup with these tables and I've looked
Yeah,
at
Tony,
these,
fix my crap.
these are expensive.
Because if this doesn't get fixed, I'm
If
not.
anybody sees an economical redoing this,
Well, you guys, you've had those chairs, I mean, they've been here, actually, they can't be comfortable.
so.
No, they're not. I mean, we should probably upgrade this
Sometimes.
Yeah.
21st.
Right,
I tried the reception center, grant, and they said no.
okay.
Tell them we'll have meetings in here.
What's that?
Tell them we'll have meetings in here for the reception.
They said they had to do a training and what is there, 2 other things, and I tried.
I've been to some of the trainings. We can have it in here.
That's what I thought.
I know, right, me too.
There needs to be already up there.
Better to have them.
All right, well, thanks everybody for hanging on to a long agenda, but very important, not everybody was here. And we have the donations, and I'm trying to get them up, there we go. And get engaged in the last agenda item. Okay, to the library, we have a donation for $1,680 in memory of Beth Hager by her friends and family. By Don Yarlak, we have a $4,500 donation to the library, $50 from Agatha Hubbard, $400 from an anonymous donation. For the dog park, $100 from Joni Mangold, $2,500 from the Wabasha Kellogg Community Development Foundation. Toward the athletic complex, $2,000 from Kirk and Ann Lineweaver, $5,000 from the VFW Post 4086, $3,000 from the American Legion Wabasha Post 50, $2,500 from Don and Mary Jacoby, $5,000 from the Wabasha Kellogg Community Development Foundation, $2,500 from Joni Passy and Larry Anderson, $1,000 from James and Rita Falsticker, $250 from Teresa Falsticker, $1,000 from Dennis and MJ Bashan. Toward the ambulance, $1,020 from an anonymous donation, and a general donation of $5,000 from the Wabasha Firemen's Relief Association. Do we have a motion to approve the donation?
So move. Second.
Thank you, Tim. Second by Jean. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Do we have any other announcements? We have a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn. Second.
We have a motion, I heard Jeff on the second, motion by Tim. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everybody. Lots of it. Yeah, I forget how easy it is to do the cards.